So I was going up to men at the grocery store, at my recital, at the gas station, pitching my mom as this like incredible woman that comes with this phenomenal package of an awesome kid. I was doing this at like 6. Do you know how many responses sending dinner ? Will get from a girl? It will actually get a lot.
I think breaking those stereotypes of what a man is supposed to be that we've been kind of built on, you gotta be tough and don't show your emotions. And I think for me, acting class really helped shape that because I went in and got to be vulnerable.
If you don't want to do the work to get the partner, you're not going to be able to do the work to sustain the partner. So what are we even doing here? Would have given anything to have what I've given my son at this point in his life. And I feel like out of everything, the spicy life, I don't care what it is, whatever show I've been on, giving my son an amazing, incredible father and the 2-parent home that I always long for is my greatest success story.
Please remain seated.
All right, so welcome everybody to the Rodriguez Project here at Mastermynd Media. I haven't seen you in person in maybe 7 years.
It's been years.
Yeah, 7's lucky, so we'll just go with 7.
Okay, we'll go with 7.
We have founder of The Spicy Life, magnetic matchmaker. Let me see if I can fit everything amazing that she's going in. Yeah, relationship expert. She has a new show on MTV called The Love Experiment. Another show on Paramount that came out last month called
Love Always.
Love Always, of course. And her amazing podcast as
The
well.
Spicy Life. Yes.
What did I miss? I know you have a lot going on.
Bumble Dating Expert.
Bumble Dating Expert.
Yes. The list goes on.
Yes.
Amazing wife and phenomenal mother.
Yes, absolutely. Check.
Do you need the
check. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I've been seeing everything that you're doing. It's been just amazing to watch, and how many people you're helping out. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that maybe are. Is there a lot of people in your business that are like, I'm a relationship expert, but it might not be as capable potentially as or have as much success as you have with people? Because there's success in business, but there's a success from business comes from having success with people individually or in couples and everything.
I am seeing a rise, right? An uptick in people who want to help other people in their love life. As far as their qualifications or credentials are going, I'm not checking for their like background. But what I am noticing is a lot of people, especially with the increase in like podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And just social media, like giving relationship advice. Do I always agree with it? No. But I also am a firm believer that you have to like take what serves you, what's meant for you. And when we give like universal advice and it's not specific to like where that person is or what they're going through, or even looking at like their past history and relationships, it may not be advice particularly for them. And that's why people need customized advice. Like they need the relationship with the actual coach versus just taking whatever like tips are out there, right?
Yeah.
I give spicy tips, but it's for a specific audience. And so if someone isn't giving relationship advice based on like what that person actually needs, they could be applying it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I'm seeing that in a lot of different things. Like most recently, my health. I'm like really diving into my health stuff, and you can see stuff that this don't eat this, eat this.
Right.
But then you're specific. Your body might react to this differently.
Yeah,
and that's really interesting to hear like a customized approach to that as well. But,
yeah, for sure. My mom just says funny. My mom just sent me a video on IG because I got my mom on IG, so she could see what's going on in my life.
Yeah, and
she sends me a video on health about this like doctor who's saying, make sure you feed your kids in the morning high protein. And so I'm like, so does this mean stop giving him oatmeal or like, and she's like, no, I'm going to buy you protein, oatmeal protein. And I'm like, okay, solution. But it's like, what am I taking? Like what, and I think this is why the research is so important. And it's like going deeper and digging deeper as much advice is being, circulated out there.
Yeah.
We're living in a time where we have so much access to information that we also need to figure out like how to dissect it, how to process it, and how to actually apply it.
And find the right information, what's misinformation.
Yeah,
There's so
what's
much.
misinformation.
Like, I do believe that the internet is slowly saving the world because everybody can communicate and you can see, you don't have to just trust these experts.
Yeah.
And you can find people that whatever route works for you and see and just test things out. But yeah, there's the misinformation and all that as well. But yeah, so now with the company, with the podcast, with these new shows and everything too, let's take it back to that origin. And we don't have to go piece by piece all the way upbringing because I don't really, we have an hour of your time.
Right.
But how does one start in this field?
So there's a multitude of ways that you can go into it. Mine was at a very young age, right? This was my calling. I was born and meant to do this based on what I believe to be like moments in my childhood and adolescence growing up where relationships really stood out to me. So at a very young age, instantly noticed that my mother was happier in relationship. My mom was married and divorced 3 times. And so I give this testimony around how I was the kid who really wanted a father. So I was going up to men at the grocery store, at my recital, at the gas station, pitching my mom as this like incredible woman that comes with this phenomenal package of an awesome kid. I was doing this at like 6. Yeah, I was very young because my mom was happier when she was in a relationship. I had more toys. We had more food at the table. I mean, because these men were not only courting her, they were courting me as well, right? Yeah. If I was happy, that's, points right there for them in, my mom's eyes. And so I started to immediately connect all of these things around relationship in her. And she saw my association of like, oh, my daughter is really great at like introducing me to these men. My mom wound up being married 3 times, but those relationships weren't working out because my mom needed to do the inner work, the self-love. And she realized that I was also very fond of relationship. So she steered me in a different path than her. She was like, I need you to be educated around this first and foremost. So she really emphasized me going to college and actually like studying communication so that I could understand the breakdown between men and women. And then from there, not only were I connecting people like in college and, throughout my entire life, family and friends. So there was like, I feel like a spiritual gift around it. But when KJLH here in Los Angeles reached out to me, one of the DJs was like, hey, we need those spicy tips that you're tweeting about on the radio. That was, I think, when I realized like, oh, now I can spread this message to the masses. Yeah. So it went from KJLH to the 92.3 at iHeart. And that's also where I started like the Spicy Love podcast. And I was like, I need to start charging for this because like I'm giving so much of myself. And this is actually a resource that people are able to use and apply. Started the Spicy Life business. My husband comes in and he's like, you're running this business all wrong. Let me help you with my mastermind. Plug to Mastermynd. Hey. Let me help you with my mastermind and help you like actually grow this and scale the business in a way that you can not just serve the masses, but also give like that personalized coaching. So definitely went and through this entire process, like went to get my master's and came up with the Spicy Fundamentals in my cohort program of self-passion, intimacy, communication, and learning to say yes. So I say all this to say like, there's the education behind it, the life experience, and then the most important part that we always forget, which is the application, right? Yeah. I not only did it for myself, but I've done it and tested it through case studies on other people and my clients. And I think when we speak about relationship coaches or other experts out there, it's one thing to have the information and maybe even some of the, knowledge. It's another thing to be able to get other people to apply it and then apply it for yourself. I think that's the hardest part that people can't master.
Well, because it takes time and focus. And that's what I'm saying. Like even in my work of like the social media stuff and whatnot too, it's seeing like, okay, it's like you're spending so much time helping your clients. And you find that moment where there's like this moment in consulting or starting a business like, oh, wait. This is really working and helping people. Yep. Wow, this is something. But then it's hard not to get lost in helping everybody else, and then you leave yourself on the back burner.
Oh my gosh,
and there's the juggling. So I love that your husband came in and you guys really found a way to really maximize this.
For sure, that's my purpose mate. Yeah, I will claim it all day long.
That's what I saw in your bio too. I think is like, or I forget where I saw it. It was something
probably my website everywhere.
Yeah, finding your purpose mate.
Yeah.
So what is your purpose mate?
So we can have a multitude of relationships in our lifetime that are supposed to grow us or expose us or teach us lessons. Your purpose mate is the person who is walking in their purpose. Their purpose is also in collaboration and connected to your purpose. So by them serving theirs, and you serving yours, you guys are then able to maximize your full potential and actually reach self-actualization, right? So within you have this massive amount of potential, but it's really the voices that are in your ear supporting you, encouraging you, and your partner can either destroy you actually fulfilling your life's purpose.
Been there.
Yeah. We've all had like that toxic relationship,
absolutely.
right? Where you're like, I didn't work, I didn't even eat. I let my health, get ruined because I was so infatuated with this person. But like the right relationship can also grow you. So imagine how much power we give to the wrong relationship. But the right relationship, like the person who has a mastermind just like you, he can grow that. And sometimes it is, okay, where am I weak, and partnering with someone where, they're strong. And your purpose mate is capable of not just seeing like the potential in you, but buying into and believing your vision, because they are walking in their purpose and they understand theirs. And they see that yours is in alignment, that like we can serve one another. By being with your purpose mate, you're also serving a higher power. I'm spiritual. So I believe that when you are with your purpose mate, you are able to honor God's kingdom even more. Okay. Now you can be in a relationship and it can be great, and you can just have like a loving relationship, and those relationships are fine, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to serve the highest purpose. And I believe that you do that with your purpose mate.
It's really cool to hear you say that. And I feel like I found that now in my life, but I didn't know that's what I was looking for. I knew what I wasn't looking for based on the previous relationships, or, putting so much time, like you said, into something that was toxic or whatever the case, and being at an age where I'm like, man, I thought I really figured myself out. How can I still fall into that trap and allow myself to be in that? All right, let's take a quick little break from the show to talk about our amazing sponsors, XYKO. XYKO.co is their website, and XYKO, XYKO.go is their social media platforms. But we're so stoked about this partnership. This is their first product. It's this minimalistic design for their wallet. I've had several of these, but this design has been the easiest, like a little lighter flick, boom, right back in your pocket. Minimalistic, modernized, and just everywhere I go, people ask me where the hell I got this from, and it's XYKO, XYKO.co. But what does that mean? The underlying desire to live your life, to make things happen. And that's exactly what we're about at Mastermynd. So we are so stoked to be working with them. So check them out, XYKO.co. Also, Ink Detroit. Ink Detroit make this hat. They make all of our merchandise. They do hats, they do t-shirts, they do hoodies, you name it, they do it. And they work in Detroit, but they ship to all over the nation as well. So please check them out, inkdetroit.com, and Ink Detroit on all social media platforms as well. So if you're a business or you're a brand and you need to get stuff made on a bunch of different kinds of clothing, check them out. They will take care of you, and let them know that Mastermynd sent you. Lastly, before we get back in the show, what do we do at Mastermynd? People see Mastermynd Media like, who the hell, what is this? Is this just a podcast studio? Partially, yes, we do podcasts here at Mastermynd. We're in Los Angeles. This is one of our newest ventures, but social media management, graphic design, logos, pitch decks, you name it, we do it. Digital production, interviews. Check us out on Mastermynd. That's MASTERMYND media.com. But if you're in Los Angeles and you're looking for a place to do podcasts, yes, we do that. And we're so stoked to be doing podcasts. There's so many cool people in Los Angeles, and the conversations that happen at this table, it's been amazing. So if you're looking for somebody, you're looking for a partner to the digital world, look no further. Please give us a call. We'd love to help you out. That's mastermindmedia.com. And let's get back into the show. So when it comes to finding your purpose mate, what's the trick for men? Or what are you seeing in men taking longer for them to mature potentially? And find that purpose. So are you seeing that? And this is just based on maybe my generation and what I'm seeing out there, and in my own life, it took me a lot longer to mature than women. And I think that's a thing maybe across the board. But yeah, what are you seeing like within men? Is it a certain age? Is it like, when are they getting there?
Purpose, right, can come to you at any point. I think that you mentioned like maturity with it as well.
Yeah.
A part of you being able to, appreciate and honor and actually carry out and walk in your purpose with confidence, I think comes from life experience. And so to the things that you have experienced, you may not have even appreciated or found your calling when you did, had you not had some of those poor life experiences and made some of those mistakes. So I think it comes to you when it's supposed to. But what happens when it comes to relationship and dating, and us as women, right, if we're just speaking like as far as male and female are concerned, is we always, from a very young age, some of this is societal, some of this, is from family, but we are always told like that relationships are important. So we are nurtured into believing, and it's part of the social construct, that we are relational by nature, but also society supports that, right? We're very big on connection. We want relationship. Men, on the other hand, are given permission to not have to be in relationship, to be able to explore, to be able to be more adventurous, promiscuous even. Like, there's a different set of social guidelines that have been given to you guys that allow for you guys to do more exploration. But then we also have Mother Nature on our side that is like, okay, girl, your clock's also ticking. You can only have birth within these windows, where you guys can do it for the rest of your lives. I know because, yes. Science. And like, we see like 60-year-old men like still like having babies.
Yeah.
So to that being said, that there's this time period where you guys finally decide, okay, I've experienced all that I've experienced and that I want, and now I'm ready to settle down and actually show up in relationship for someone. I'm ready to, let's say, commit, and actually be responsible for another human, for a woman. We've wanted that though forever, right? In our 20s and our 30s, in our 40s and 50s and 60s, for the rest of our lives, we will always want a man to feel that way, to feel like he is ready to protect and provide. But for you guys, it is a certain time. 20s to 30s, you guys, for our generation, are enjoying yourselves more and settling down a lot later. But when you guys hit that 40 mark window where you guys are actually like at your prime and you're finally like reaching financial success, the more that the clock keeps ticking on your guys' end, the less likely you are to get married. So if you're not married by like 42, the chances of you guys getting married are a lot less.
Interesting.
So as a woman, we want to get you guys, we want to get you guys at that prime, like between 30 and 40 if we can, okay? But people are still, like I said, getting married in their 20s. But for us to actually be with someone who has the, or is capable of creating, right, financial intimacy with us, spiritual intimacy, recreational intimacy, emotional intimacy, your guys' maturity hasn't hit that in your 20s. So we are doing ourselves a disservice by trying to find you at that young age, because if we get married in our 20s, the chances of us divorcing even increase more.
Right.
So we want to get you right between that like 30 to 35 pocket window when you guys are at your awesomeness and best. But if you are not in your purpose during that time, it may require some of our amazing influence to be able to enlighten you, because that is one of our spiritual gifts as women, is to be able to do that. But we cannot be responsible for you getting there. You have to want it for yourself. We can only influence.
Wow.
So I know that's a lot.
Sense.
You can cut me off at any time, Mark, because you know I can talk.
I need all that. But no, it makes so much sense. And I one thing that I saw you talking about, I forget who you're talking to on your podcast, and it was something about like, okay, you're looking for the man of your dreams. Are you going to the places that he's going to be at? So I love the level of strategy, even within the finding the pocket, but understanding it. It's not like it's not a materialistic thing or like, for whatever reasons. It's like, no. It's like, this is when they're most likely to be ready. Yep. And to understand that versus trying to find something younger and being like, oh, they're not ready there. Well, I can fix that. I can make that happen. So I love the level of strategy that's kind of injected into your process as well. For sure. I think that we don't give enough credit to strategy. We'll do it for everything else in our life. We're strategic about our health, our workouts. We need a coach for this, a coach for that. Our finances, will invest in a financial advisor. When it comes to education, we know we need to submit an application and spend this amount of time. When it comes to becoming any profession in life, we are strategic about it. Okay, how many job fairs do I need to go on? How many times do I need to submit on LinkedIn? How many follow-up emails do I need to do? But when it comes to relationship, right, that is actually the most important decision we will ever make in life, we will want to do nothing. Wow, yeah. We're like, I just wanted to fall on my lap. Yeah, and is it because you just believe in this whole thing or watch too many movies of like, oh, I'm just going to find the perfect person. Like my soulmate's out there. They'll find me in my house. I'm not going to blame media entirely. Media plays a portion, right? Yeah, because it is the messages that we're receiving. But it really starts within the home. Our parents are not, and this is why I even exist, our parents are not giving us the tools in order to have a healthy relationship. One, because they more than likely didn't have one in their own partnership,
or role models for them. So they're not even able to model it for us, but they're also not having conversations about what a healthy relationship looks like. And so they're not setting us up for success. So it's why we look up and now we're successful and we've made, all the money that we can, but we don't have anybody to share it with. And, my clients are coming to me at like 35 and they're like, okay, now help me find love. And I'm like, okay, now you're ready to do the work. Well, guess what? If you haven't been, and we'll relate this to fitness, if you've never worked out in your entire life, you've just been maybe coasting off of being naturally healthy or, good genetics. And now I have to train those muscles to like start building and doing work.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do it over time. You can't just do it once a week. It's not, no. Every day we need to be doing something to pour into our love cup to get us there, especially since we haven't been working out. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Got to pour into the love cup. Come on. And so, wow, so much. I could talk to you forever and just, I should have been asking you all these questions when we first met.
Well, I'm like, your girl's here now, but I would have
met her sooner? No, I couldn't.
Probably no. I don't think I was ready.
You had to go through some of the relationships that you did. But I remember trying to like drag you and introduce you to different people back in the day. And like, look at how far you've come though. You're a different person from then.
Drastically different.
Yes.
But yeah, actually speaking of my current relationship, right? I mentioned before the show that we met on Bumble and you being a Bumble relationship expert.
Yes, Bumble dating expert over here.
So when we first met, and
Tell her about my strategy as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Your strategy,
I'll let you say it. You say it.
Okay, so dating on Bumble, dating on any app in general, my rule has always been get off the app as quick as possible. I mean, 2 days max talking. You do not need to be pen paling. And then just meet them.
Yeah, get them off of the app quicker. So you meet them on the app.
Yep.
Don't keep it on the app. Get it in real life ASAP.
Facts. Okay, so that is an awesome strategy. What I teach my clients to do when it comes to the dating apps is when you're on Bumble, you want to funnel. So you want to have your group of people who you're interested in, and while you're communicating, move them to cell phone sooner. So whatever reason you want to give them, I'm vibing your energy. I want to see how it feels in like real time. Here's my cell phone number. Let me get yours. Let's start texting and set up a FaceTime. You want to set up the text first, then move to FaceTime. So that way you can see, is there any chemistry so that I don't waste time maybe having to go on that date, or even for the fellas money, if we can't even hold a conversation on a FaceTime, right? And so from there, then you set up the in-person date. And the only reason why I'm saying don't go straight to the in-person date is because of safety and catfishing. So we can save just like energy before doing, before getting our makeup and hair done for him to like not show up to the restaurant by doing a call or FaceTime first. And the other element to that is when somebody has done the calls or the FaceTime first, there's more of an investment. So you're less likely to cancel on the date because you've already proven I will commit some time to you. And oftentimes we're just going straight from like, and this is a strategy that fellas will often do. Just send a message, dinner, ? Do you know how many responses sending dinner ? Will get from a girl? It will actually get a lot.
Really?
Yes. You would think that it wouldn't, but because there's such a large amount of contact points that you have with men who are not taking you to the courtship process, the sooner that a man implies that he sees value in spending quality time with you, it's a no. It's women are like, oh, well, this person must be serious since he wants to spend more time, since he wants to spend time with me, and the other guy ghosted me 2 days ago. So you're more inclined to actually get more of a response when you imply that you want to spend time with someone.
I like
Interesting.
That's so smart, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we FaceTime? I think we did. Did we FaceTime first?
We FaceTime before we
were
met
texting.
in person.
Yeah.
The day before.
I was in
I
New
think.
York, I
and
think,
then
or
she
before.
she almost didn't show up to the date because she didn't like how her hair looked. So her mom.
You're such a girl. You're such a woman. Why are we like
It
this?
was really serious.
Why
But
are
her
we
mom was
this?
like, you never know.
Yeah.
And so she showed up, and it would be you hit it off.
My mother's
right
the
from there.
romantic, and she's also been married 4 times.
See, so you get it. And I'm so happy that you pushed through that like self-doubt or that emotion, because that would have sabotaged the relationship that you guys have now as a partnership. And we don't do that enough. We go based off of like, well, I don't feel like inconveniencing myself, or I don't feel like being, I don't feel like dealing with the fact that I don't feel attractive today, so I'm not going to show up. And it's you pushing through and overriding that like unsettling feeling that actually will get you to the next step in your goal, which is like partnership.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
And we definitely,
I think we did our relationship pretty right if you want to go into it.
Yeah. Because one of the things early on for us was our age gap.
What's the age gap?
13 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I, at the beginning, and it was like, obviously when we met and we hit it off and there was no age gap, it was perfect. Right. But I was overthinking the age gap because I'm like, I was 36. She was 23 when we met.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I'm 25 now.
Okay. Yeah. So we're coming up on 2 years, but it was like, I was like, how do I tell people? Is it too young?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was kind of overthinking it. So what do you think about age gaps and how would you go about, helping someone along or make those decisions based on that?
So age gap is touchy because it's popular right now as far as like older women being more open to younger men.
Yeah.
Historically, it has always been older men with younger women. As far as quality of life is concerned, you guys show signs of and measure more happiness and satisfaction in relationship when we're younger than you. You guys have a huge age gap. So you would have to do more work around finding similar interests. A part of you, and this is like coming from a place of love, a part of you will still be maturing, growing, and helping her evolve because you are older and you have more life experience. But the good thing is us as women, we do mature a lot faster. But because you guys have such a big gap in between, you're gonna have to exercise more patience. She hasn't had because you're, and I'm just gonna keep it 100. You haven't had that much relationship experience, so you may not necessarily be mature in the emotional regulation. Your brain hasn't even fully developed as far as that's concerned. So when it comes to your ability to withhold your reaction and handle and even manage and guide Mark in his psyche in a way to get your needs met, you haven't practiced that enough with other relationship. So coming into the relationship, your patience is going to be tested as well. And some of that is going to grow and develop in this relationship. It doesn't mean the relationship's not going to work. It just means that your maturity is going to happen during this relationship versus with 5 other guys prior to him, right? So you understanding your partner, it's going to be a lot of like research on your end. And this would happen for any relationship. You have to do research in a relationship nonetheless. But because she's not coming in with having done this like relationship work with other people, some of that's going to be you teaching her. And you have to be comfortable with understanding that you will be guiding your partner because the experience just isn't there.
Yeah.
But then the other element is like shared interests. Because you guys do come from, 2 different decades. Are you guys able to find common hobbies and things that you both enjoy, passions that you can both like grow together? Because you guys ultimately will need to have those to stay strong in your relationship.
Yeah. And I think that's where we really lucked out too. She has older sisters. So as like, my hilarious jokes were landing because she knew all the stuff, the references I was making.
Yeah. So
that was a
good.
big thing. I mean,
Hilarious.
he was really nervous about the age gap. And I think the oldest man I had dated was like 55. So I had a track record
Oh,
of dating
girl,
older
you like
men.
them. Oh, okay.
Because I
I
can't
mean,
stand
older than you,
younger
that's
men.
like huge. That's like double your age. Okay.
Yeah, but I've also dated a 27-year-old and less. So our age gap was more, he did have more experience in the dating world. And that was a big thing in our relationship in the beginning.
They were all around
LA.
Hollywood.
And I met almost every single one.
She's met all your exes. Okay. That's funny.
Met them or she's like
Met them, seen them.
Can't watch any TV.
Can't watch
He's like
TV
turning
shows
the
with them
channel
on.
again. Like, oh, here she goes again.
I'm like, you sure you want to watch this show?
That is hilarious.
But yeah, so I can definitely see all the things that you're saying and how we've luckily been able to work through that, and luckily, but also putting in the work and like
Tons
we found
of
a
work.
really great couples therapist that we've been going to.
Beautiful.
And like, you know, and because I'm finally at the age, she was already there wanting to invest time and work on the relationship. And I'm grateful for the place that I am in my life where I want to as well. And I'm always constantly looking at how can I evolve and what the different perspectives and how to unlock different things to be the right person for somebody else. So yeah, it was the timing. The timing was the timing, and
the timing
we
was
worked
the
it out.
timing. But
You got him at what age? 35. How old were you when you found
I
him?
was 36.
36.
See, you got him like in this like good still window pocket before he hits 40s. Because right when he hits like that 42, he would be less likely to settle down. So you're getting him in his sweet spot of his 30s where you're mature, you know what you want to do. She knows where she can like pour into you and nurture. And you're also very like growth mindset oriented. So you're able to understand that you're not coming as a perfect package as well. And I think that we forget, because we don't want to do the work sometimes. We're like, I just want somebody to come perfect, ready to go. I don't want to have to do much work. But I think that we don't take into account enough that your partner's only as evolved as like the relationships prior to you. So if you didn't have bomb-ass girlfriends growing you and, you know, helping you become the best version of yourself, you only have the tools that those relationships gave you.
Yeah.
So while she may not have much experience, if you didn't have the best of experience in being, you know, grown, it may wind up being like, you know, equal.
Yeah. Or it would have been in one of those other relationships that I wasn't able to. I remember one relationship, they were like, why do I always have to be the lesson that a man has to learn before he's
married,
you know, to marry the next person? But I was also like 25 or 27 or something like that. I'm like, I'm not in my pocket yet.
Yeah. He was always like,
I'm like,
oh, would you have
up.
dated me at 26? And I was absolutely not.
No.
I would not have dated you. And I don't think you would have dated me.
I was undateable.
3 years ago.
I'm happy my husband did not find me at 26.
Yeah.
He would not have settled down with me by any means. You're supposed to find your partner when you find them, but you also are supposed to be prepared for them. And if you haven't done the preparation work, you will stay in the dating market longer.
Yeah. So talk about the preparation work. When a new client comes into you and they haven't done the preparation work, what are you like? What are those first steps that you take with them to get them on the right track?
So I have an assessment that I created with my husband that like measures where you're at as far as SPICY is concerned. So once again, SPICY stands for self, passion, intimacy, communication, learning to say yes. If you lack self-awareness, self-love, self-worth, if you aren't a passionate person and can't ignite passion within others, if you don't know how to create intimacy between a man and a woman, and by intimacy, I mean not just you sharing, but you also getting someone to share with vulnerability. If you don't know how to communicate and like sender receiver as far as a message is concerned, and create intimacy even within your communication. And then if you don't know how to negotiate and compromise in a partnership, right, which is the yes part, my assessment will tell me where you're not strong. And then that's where I know where I need to give you the most tough love. After we take the assessment, then we set up weekly coaching sessions where we meet once a week. And I'm taking you through my SPICY curriculum. So I have an entire like growth guide of exercises that you're doing. But then on top of that, week by week while you're dating, I'm redoing like your Bumble dating profile. I'm taking, getting new photos for you, rewriting your bio, but then also taking you through how you communicate, because a lot of people are or believe themselves to be great with interpersonal communication. But when you have these other channels now of communication, it's hard to leave a lasting great impression. So I'm teaching you how to text better. I'm teaching you how to message and even do, FaceTime and communicate. Wow. 10 times better, because if those skills weren't practiced or exercised in an awesome way, you're going to drop the ball every time. So that's why I went from not focusing so much on the matchmaking part of like, hey, Mark, let me introduce you to this awesome, girl. I went more into how can I make you more magnetic so that you're prepared for when she is in front of you, how to converse with her, how to guide her emotions, how to make her feel passion and connected to you. Most of us don't know really how to get someone attached to us. We don't know how to make someone be, and this is going to sound, we don't know how to get someone emotionally attached to the parts where they crave us. And if we do get someone to like us, we usually wind up from fear sabotaging it.
Yeah.
So it's really helping you first fall in love with self so that we can become a magnet for someone else, for the type of person that we're trying to attract. And then how do we retain the relationship? That's so now that you guys like have the relationship, the next phase that you guys have to go through is retention. How do I keep this person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's work within itself, right? Like finding her was work, and then now keeping her is going to be work.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're writing this down?
that's why we're in couples therapy.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we were like,
And
oh,
that's
how do we keep this fire? I mean, what do you think about this? The fire, keeping the spark. Like, is that even a thing? Do you recommend that to people? Do you say that to people?
So
who are in
when we say spark,
relationships?
are we talking about like passion in the relationship, or
Passion.
like those
I would
butterflies in our stomach? What
I
are we
would say
referring to?
passion in the
Okay.
relationship.
So passion is something that you have to, in order to keep it sustained, you have to be a passionate person. You have to constantly be doing things that you love and pouring into your own love cup so that it can overflow into the other person. But you both got to be doing it. And what happens is when we get the person who we want, we stop growing ourselves. We stop expanding. And when you stop expanding and pouring into your hobbies, your interests, culture, learning about other arts or activities, things that you enjoy, you become less attractive to the partner because they see you're not growing yourself. There is now going to be a lack of growth in me where I could have grown 100%. Now I'm only going to grow 50% because you're not doing your part to grow yourself. So this is why like the self part is so important. And we stop taking care of self and we get distracted with like our job, the kids, our family members who need us as well. And we stop pouring into ourselves, therefore not having an abundance to pour into our partner.
Yeah.
And then we become less sexually attracted to our partner. We are not looking forward to them anymore because they no longer have anything to share with us that's going to grow us or entertain us because they haven't been pouring into themselves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Is a part of that, like take the kids and family, that stuff out of it. Is part of that because you feel like, oh, I've checked this box off, or I got her, and now I don't have to be ready to go find something anymore or to be attractive to anybody because of that.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
think the work is done, right?
Yeah.
We think like, now that I have my person, I can just rest. Like, I don't need to worry about like, maybe it is, the self-care. Maybe I don't need to do the upkeep, or maybe I don't need to pretend to be interested in his jokes that weren't that funny. I really just wanted partnership. And now I have to, now I want to be distracted with these like other things. And we think that we've reached our ultimate goal when you have the relationship. And that is just the beginning. And so when people come in, or when I'm listening to people and they're like, I don't want to do the work. I didn't think it would be this much work. Why is getting a partner so much work? And I'm like, honey, if you don't want to do the work to get the partner, you're not going to be able to do the work to sustain the partner. So what are we even doing here? Because it's always going to be work. And the work doesn't have to be painful, right? Because
Sure.
like sometimes it is going to be challenging, but it doesn't always have to feel like it's like gruesome or agonizing. We can gamify it and make it enjoyable. Like we can actually fall in love with the work. But we have to do things that pour into our cup to make sure that we're not 100% dependent on this outcome being a reflection of our worth. And that's where we mess ourselves up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I wish I'd met you when I was 22. Because you do kind of tie your relationships and also the quality of your relationships with your worth if you weren't taught correctly.
Right. For sure.
It's,
Yeah.
Wow. Mind blown.
And we want quality relationships. Like that is a reflection of it really does correlate to our happiness, right? Like the quality of your relationships are a reflection of your life's happiness. But if you aren't someone who has anything to offer others, if you don't even like humans, right? Because there's a lot of people who are like, I want a relationship and I want more friends, but they don't really like people. You have to actually love humankind. You have to love connection. And if you don't love it, okay, what do we need to change about your mindset and how negative thinking you have, right? That will get you to a place where you can foster more relationships or open your heart up. Because a lot of people are closed off and then wondering like, why can't they attract partnership? And then the other portion is they're not doing the behaviors of someone who really believes they're worthy of it.
Right. Right. And so, as we're talking about, monogamous relationships, What about when people come to you and ask about open relationships? Is there a world where like is monogamy it, or are there other options on the table that do you believe do work as
Is
well?
open healthy too?
And this is not us asking, by the way.
I trust me. I don't even think you would play that, girl.
No.
So that world does exist. I'm not the coach for you. Part of security in a relationship comes with not ownership and control, but trust. And so when you have decided that you can trust someone to always put you first and who will choose you, right? A part of our healing and some of our childhood traumas comes from the acceptance portion. And when you're saying, you're not enough for me, I need other people, that is a form of rejection. It is a form of saying like, I can't, I can only love you at a certain capacity. And by needing other people, that goes against what my purpose is in life and my mission, which is to like restore the family unit, right? I want to see both parents in the home raising their kids. And within that, it's also fulfilling like my childhood dream, right? That I then manifested in the life that I have now for my son. Like one of the greatest gifts that I have ever given this earth is not just my son, but also the family unit that I've created. Like I literally would have given anything to have what I've given my son at this point in his life. And I feel like out of everything, the spicy life, I don't care what it is, whatever show I've been on, giving my son an amazing, incredible father and the two-parent home that I always long for is my greatest success story. Because you know how hard it is to create that when you've never had it. And so if my son was seeing that daddy doesn't choose mom every single day, because it's a choice. If he was seeing daddy doesn't choose mom, daddy chooses a multitude of women, he would be picking up on that behavior. And oftentimes that's coming from a need to fulfill voids. It's not coming from the person not being enough from you. It's coming from the inner work that they need to do. And open relationships do work for a ton of people. But the type of safety and security and true intimacy that I coach and that I believe in requires you being disciplined. It requires you making a choice every day to sacrifice the maybe superficial emotions or emotions that don't serve you, such as lust, right? We're going to sacrifice those and override that for the greater good of the bigger picture, which is my purpose in life. And can I reach my maximum potential and purpose with a multitude of people that I now have to be responsible for versus being able to focus on my partner and the family right here that's in front of me?
Wow. When you first, obviously being a relationship expert since 6.
6 years old.
Yeah, but since you kind of found your purpose and your passion early on, but then also didn't have the father that you wish for your mother back then, did you ever have a moment in your life or a chapter in your life where you were going after the wrong men because of X, Y, Z?
Yes. And so I think that's part of too, like my testimony to my clients was like me going through my hoe phase, me going through my anxious attachment style phase, I went through so many phases, right? I went through like my badass, I'm a player phase where I'm going to act like the men and I'm going to sit in my wounded masculine and I'm going to destroy every sucker that's coming for me. I'm going to take advantage and get everything that I want. I don't love these hoes. I've been through every phase imaginable, which is why I'm able to coach my clients
Love that. Yeah.
through that. Because I'm like, girl, you know how many planes I've been on? Don't even try me right now. Like,
Who's flying you out?
you didn't date in your 20s, girl. Let me tell you.
You missed out on that.
You already missed that pocket, right?
That ship
That ship has
okay,
sailed.
Mark's gonna fly me
jet
out.
is-
Yes,
Yeah.
you got your man.
I got
You
you.
and Mark will travel together. You don't, and I'm not saying that you need to have all of those experiences. I'm saying that there is periods in my life that I did not choose to necessarily apply the spicy method, and it may have even been before I created it, where I did allow my emotions to dictate like the outcome of my relationships, or I was jealous or possessive, or I was cold-hearted and cruel. I've been through all the phases based on each imprint that a relationship has left me, because that's when you choose a partner, they ultimately are affecting you. They're leaving a lifelong like memory in your your database of experiences that can either shape you for the good or shape you for the bad. So I've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And there's men that have, claimed like, oh, I took you out spicy. Remember that one time we went on a dinner date and I'm like, no, I'm so sorry. Did I have you get something from my roommate and me? Are you the steak guy? Like, I was bad. Like, I went through like that phase, but then I also went through the super like, we've been on 2 dates, will you be my boyfriend phase. Like I've been through
that's the anxious
all of
attachment
it. Yes,
side?
that's the anxious attachment. Like I've
been trying to do the work. Okay, I'm doing the work.
Yes. Do the work.
It's life experiment.
We need more men doing the work. Because we look to you guys for leadership in the households, because we want relationship and we want it with quality men. We need more men promoting that message of the self-work, right? Because oftentimes we're getting into relationship with men who don't love themselves and we're expecting them to be able to pour into our love cup, but they have never done the work to pour into their own. So we are gifted with the blessing of our generation being like able to finally like be vulnerable, and it's cool for us to get, coaching and therapy now. Our parents and our parents' parents, they didn't have that luxury. Like this is a luxury for us.
Yeah.
So I think, even as women, we're requiring it now. We're like, we want you to be, emotionally intelligent, but we also want you to be like strong and brave. Like we want it all.
Yeah. But it's possible. And I think really, getting to know yourself and I think breaking those stereotypes of what a man is supposed to be that we've been kind of built on. You got to be tough and don't show your emotions. And I think for me, acting class really helped shape that because I went in and got to be vulnerable. And my acting coach had mentioned, he was like, you know why a lot of people fall in love in acting class? And we were kind of like, just a bunch of good looking people, blah, blah. And he's like, no, it's because everybody comes in there and they're super vulnerable. So they're open and they can actually have the right conversations. But it did take me a long time to get to that point to be open and show all of that. But now I like to just scream it from the top of the building to let the world know that like, hey, no, don't go down this way. This is what the road I went down. Come back this way. This is where it leads to the promised land eventually. But when people are going through these other relationships that maybe weren't the one for them, what would you say a successful formula is for a breakup, for you to maybe get through the breakup, but also maximize and learn the most from it?
That's a great question. So I don't think we spend enough time in the self-reflection part after a breakup. So I don't think we gathered enough inventory from the partner in the relationship, doing check-ins, right? Like monthly, weekly, quarterly check-ins of like, how can I show up better for you? Once you ask how you can show up better for someone, you then get permission to then tell them how they can show up better for you. But we can't just like give you that first. We need to ask how we can do it first. We're not doing enough of that inventory in the relationship. Then when we get out of the relationship, oftentimes when I ask my clients, like, if I were to ask your ex areas where you could grow, what would your ex have told me? And they're like, they thought I was great. Girl, no, that's not why you're standing in front of me right now. So I think that awareness piece of like actually doing some self-reflection. There's an exercise that I have in my growth guide where I make you reach out to family and friends and actually do a SWOT analysis where it's like your family and friends have to give you feedback on what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are opportunities that you can grow as far as relationships are concerned, and then what are the threats if you don't. So like if you don't work on your ego, or if you don't work on your selfishness, or if you don't work on your paranoia or jealousy, this is the worst case scenario of what's going to happen to you if you don't work on this thing. So I think it's like gathering that information and doing the self-reflection. I especially think after a breakup too, you need to, if you want to and are ready to do the healing work, operate from a place of gratitude. Okay, what is everything that this person did that was amazing and awesome that I can say like, I appreciate, and what did I learn from it? And then you also have to do, what are the things that hurt me that I have to learn from? Because I don't think it's enough to just say like, okay, his beautiful blue eyes. And I also like the way that, he, was chivalrous. Like those things are great. What do we learn from it? But what are the things that like areas that he hurt us in that we can learn from as well? Okay, well, when he, cursed at me, what I learned from that was that I need somebody who is able to handle their anger better in those moments, or who puts my needs first, or who's able to be calm and patient in moments of, conflict. Like you have to write at the end of that, what's the thing that you learned from that awesome thing, but also what's the thing that you learned from that horrible thing.
Yeah.
And that's going to help with the healing process, because you don't want to bring those things in partnership moving forward, but you're not going to be able to avoid them if you don't point them out and acknowledge them. You're
Right.
only going to be a magnet for those things happening to you again.
Yeah. How important would you say understanding like where that person was operating from, or understanding, I guess, even in a relationship, or understanding that from a breakup as well?
What do you mean?
The person that they are, where they're operating from, maybe as far as like their upbringing or the things that have happened to them, or just, I guess it just comes down to more of a toxic relationship or something like that.
Well, we don't do enough research. So like when we're in the dating process, like we're falling in love with like the romance of it all, but we're not asking enough questions, one, to build intimacy, to build intimacy, but then also to gather information about whether we are equipped to handle that person and all that they come with. Right. So we're like enamored with how the date experience was, but within the date, he told you that he was abused as a child. And then he also told you that he's cheated on every other girlfriend. And then he's also told you that he, I don't know, the cops have been called on him, but we really had a great time on the date. And he said he's dating with intent. So I'm just going to overlook those things and keep going, and hoping that I'm the one that made him fully change himself. And 9 times out of 10, like that's not the case. We're not listening. We're not paying attention. We're not asking enough questions. And then we're not really measuring whether it's a good fit for us. And then we're also forgetting to check in with self. Do I not only like how he makes me feel, but do I like how I show up when I'm with him? Do I like who I am when I am with this person? Or do I just like how this person makes me feel about myself?
Wow.
And there's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
I have a question that I wanted to ask. I hear a lot about the men in this generation, or the relationships in this generation. You hear so many different like highs and lows, but what do you think about this next generation of dating and this generation of dating? Is it getting better? Like, what do relationships look like now? Because it seems like it's bad. I hear a lot of bad.
You watch a lot of TikTok.
A lot of TikTok. Yeah, a lot of TikTok.
I think that it is our generation's responsibility to change it. Right. I think our parents, and I'm not going to blame it on all the baby boomers, but their high divorce rate, which they need to take responsibility for. But, it's mostly their parents. So I'm going to blame it on their parents. But they set us up for a lack of belief in relationship, because we witnessed so many of our parents having relationships that ended. Our faith and confidence in us being able to do the same, which is like conquering conquering conflict. Like, we don't think that we're capable of doing that. We don't have not only the skill set, because we didn't have anybody teach us, but we don't have the belief system. So we're only mirroring and replicating these like generational curses. I think that our generation can stop that if we not only take accountability for what we have contributed to it, because we definitely have contributed to it, but saying, hey, it stops with us. It ends here. And there are amazing, beautiful men out there. There are phenomenal women out there. The other element, and I recently spoke about this on the last Spicy Life podcast, like the post will be up tomorrow on it. The other element is that wounded women and wounded men, when we speak to energy, right? Wounded feminine and wounded masculine. There's a lot of wounded people who are on the market. The problem is that the healed people are taking each other off the market. This is very like related to anxious attachment style, secure attachment style, and avoidant attachment style. You said you've been doing some of the reading around that?
Yeah, I dated somebody that was, I believe, anxious avoidant, at least avoidant, but it was anxious avoidant. And then it was like I did the research. And I was like, oh, yeah, it all made sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So secure takes each other off of the market, right? When we think of secure, I'm going to say like energy wise, like healed takes healed off of the market. So we're leaving wounded on the market for one another. And the problem is wounded only hurts more wounded. And so I believe that we have a responsibility to operate not from a place of like fear, but pouring more love, sharing more love, and encouraging those who are wounded to do the healing work, making a safe place for them, the message that we send, us being in media and entertainment, it is part of our responsibility, right?
Sure,
So
yeah.
like, what is it? Much is given. What is the saying? To much is given, much is expected. Am I saying that right? Have you ever heard that quote?
Yeah, I've heard something like that.
Okay, I can't remember what it is, but
Yeah. We'll drop it in. I think that sounds
much
good. to
is-
me.
Yeah,
too
the
much is
quote will
given,
show up
Yeah.
much
right
is
here.
expected. I think it's like one of those things. And I think that when we not only create a platform, but we're blessed to have people who like listen to us and the influence that we have,
Yeah.
we need to use that power for good. Because if not, it's going to be, there's other people who are sending like the wrong message out there about relationships.
And being super loud with it.
Super loud with it, right? Like the toxic message that's going around, which I call gender wars. That's the last episode that I just did on the Spicy Life. The message that's going around is that there's only men who are taking advantage, players on the market, and that there's only promiscuous gold diggers on the market. So if we keep spreading that message, what are people going to believe, and what are they going to buy into, and how are they going to behave? But if we spread the message that like, no, we love you guys, even with all of your wounds, we all have them. We all have trauma that we're healing through. Let's do the healing work, kumbaya. We're more likely to overpower that message and spread the love. But it's up to us, like love spreaders, to do that.
Yeah. And I think that's a big reason why I think in my personal life, but also professionally and in the media, to talk about these different things. And I think right before Jai and I met, after going through a lot of different things, but knowing I wasn't fully ready, but then communicating that to her, hey, I'm going through this thing. I want to make sure that I'm healed. Two people meet and one might not be ready to go into it yet, but still doesn't want to just say no to it. How do you navigate a difficult moment like that where somebody has a lot of stuff that they're going through and wants to ensure that this is not just not one night stand,
like fleeting relationship
or a rebound?
For the person who needs the healing or the person who's receiving?
I guess
both.
because it would be,
Okay. So
because ours ended up working out, but I came in communicating everything because I had gone from a place of never talking about anything to the point where now I'm open, but now I'm wide open and borderline trauma dumping to ensure that she knows that what's going on, so she doesn't. So not to scare her away.
But your trauma dumping was more communication that I'd ever had within many. Really, you don't find out until later they're not communicating enough. But so that trauma dumping, even though it kind of was, sort of worked for me because I was like, okay, at least I know
He knows where my head's
what I'm
at.
going
for
in.
the trauma dumpers, right? For those who are like, okay, this is what I went through, and I want to tell you so that you're less likely to run. If I tell you up front, I'm trusting you with this information, but also like warning you and what you're signing up for. So for my trauma dumpers, we talk about the trauma and we share about our heartache and our pain and the things that we need to like learn and grow in. But then I also think it needs to be supported with, and this is my plan to heal.
Yeah.
Because if you don't say, and this is my plan to heal, or, so when I tell my story about, my mom being, married multiple times and me not growing up in the household with a father, that may send the signal to someone that like, okay, you didn't have a dad, so that means you got daddy issues. So if I'm dating someone and I'm telling them these things, I need to support it and back it up with like, but let me tell you the therapy and the work that I did in order to heal from not having a father in the home. Let me tell you how I fell in love with men that originally like had hurt me and rejected me. This is what I did to overcome some of that like scarcity mindset or some of those wounds that I needed to heal. And I don't think that we do enough of that. Like, this is the work that I'm going to be doing in order to heal this area. Give me permission to grow while with you versus I need to grow outside of you and separate from you. Be patient with me. I'm being honest with you, but be patient with me. And some of the things that I'm going through may affect you in this time, but now that I've been upfront with it, you've been warned, but that doesn't let me off the hook from doing the work I need to in order to be better for you. And I think we need to communicate that more versus thinking we need to do it separate from the relationship.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, I believe I asked the questions too. We're like, and I remember this now. What are you doing to heal from it? Like, because I need to know.
Very
like,
good.
am I just gonna be sitting here waiting for you to be ready,
Right.
or like, is this gonna be something? Because I need to not waste my time as well.
Yeah.
But
And I think, because I was in therapy at that time and was going through that.
yeah, but you gave me your plan.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm like, where do we begin?
What I don't think though, Mark, is fair is when men are avoiding commitment
Because of that.
And they just want like the connection, right? I'm a huge I am anti non-committal men. And what that means is like, I want access to you. I want all of the benefits package that having a relationship with you comes with, but I don't want to be responsible for how I make you feel at the end of the day. And by not being in a committed relationship with you, that absolves me of any responsibility. And I think that is toxicity right there.
Absolutely.
Like, no, we're still going to be in a committed relationship, sir. I'm not going to do a situationship with you so that you can explore, 20 other benefits packages, but you want all of mine, wasting my time, taking all of my valuable resources, and you can't make me feel safe and secure.
Right.
I think that there needs to be a certain level of, I love you enough to commit, and I love myself enough to pour into my own love cup during this process of my healing.
Got it.
wow,
Yeah.
I agree.
I concur.
He's like, I second that notion.
I agree.
A couple more things, and then I want to talk about the MTV show as well that just came out. But what do you feel like is the right amount of time to start dating someone and then let it formulate into a relationship? Is there a set period of time?
There's not a set period of time, but I will say that when you're consistently dating someone, by the second month. If you're dating someone longer than 3 months and you've been consistently seeing them and dating them, that's way too long. If they're not committing to you after 3 months, and it's even every 90 days is like usually my go-to just for anything when it comes to like abstinence before having sex with them, to the courtship process. It does not take you that long to decide whether you guys are compatible or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't take you that long to gather information, research, because we're not just going off of like, is there a connection and does this feel good? It's also, is this an intelligent decision? Do you make sense? Can you grow me? Are you proud of me? Do you show up for me? Are you consistent? Have we built a certain amount of trust? Because I think with the time, that's the number one giveaway about whether like someone has true intentions or not. When someone can't show up consistently, and when someone can't actually like execute over an extended period of time, that consistency, their intentions are not necessarily authentic in what your intentions are. So if you're out there and you're like dating with the intent of commitment and relationship, but that person can't consistently show up for you, they're not investing in the trust.
Right.
They don't want the same thing as you. They just want access to you.
Yeah. And you might want to think that, eventually they'll change their mind.
Yeah.
But,
and there's relationships. I mean, there's experiences of people who are like, well, it took him, 3 years. I was in a situationship and he finally committed. Okay, that's not the norm though.
Right. It's like the exception to the rule.
That's the exception to the rule. We can't be banking on that one relationship in history.
I was right.
Yeah, it does not take that long to know whether you want to be with someone or not. But with, what's going on, which is like the Baskin Robbins 31 flavors, we have so many options now. And we also are operating from a place of like indecisiveness, and also thinking that like the grass is greener elsewhere, that we won't settle down and make a decision on someone because we're always nervous about missing out on the next best thing.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, no matter how many times you go into Baskin Robbins 31 flavors, you'll taste all those samples, but you'll still resort back to the number one flavor that you know you like.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I tasted all these 6 other flavors, but let me just go with my Oreo. Because I know my Oreo is going to serve me. I know my Oreo is good for me.
Yeah.
And we're losing sight of that, right? We're wasting time on relationships and experiences that don't necessarily get us closer to our purpose.
Right. All makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think grass is definitely greener where you water it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So now we have this this brand new show on MTV. How did this all come about? The Love Experiment.
So I have been, I've been hosting relationship and reality for a very long time. I've worked on a multitude of projects in radio and television. But when they reached out saying that there was an opportunity for a coaching position on the show, I hopped on it. The concept of the show is like 3 beautiful, young, incredible Black women who are dating a hall full of men that are eligible bachelors ready to settle down. And so I'm like, what? Okay.
Dream.
Hello. Like
And they were all Black too.
Yes. Well, there's some mixtures up in there. There's yeah,
She,
it's a little
she calls
rainbow
them
in there.
spicy white,
I do call him Spicy White.
which
That's a
makes
good one.
which makes sense for
I call
it's
Mark
on-
Spicy White.
It's very on brand for this show with
That's a good
Spicy
one.
Mari.
That's hilarious.
And like
it's
Bumble,
good.
the women get to decide, right? Well,
The women
I guess,
get the
they
women make
choose.
the first move. They have the power, right? That's always the position that I actually like to be in.
Mhm.
The women have the power on the show, so they are going through these men's dating profiles and like seeing them in a cube, able to select based on the information that the men are giving them. So they're doing their research based on like what's being presented, and then choosing from there who they want to give a chance to.
Wow.
So it's a really entertaining show, and the experience was incredible. Paige, Tam, and Mars are like beautiful women inside and out. But given like this one of a lifetime, opportunity to just like have your way with men who are, swooning over you, I think also feels really good, because with the information that's out there and, dating sometimes being challenging based on their schedules, it gave them an opportunity to say like, okay, when I do have like the pick of the litter or all this access, am I gonna, choose with my, head, or am I gonna choose with my heart? And so that's what you guys will like see on the episode. Is the tough part about that.
Yeah, the pilot just came out, and this episode will be out Saturday. What are we on? We're on Monday. So there'll be 2 episodes out by the time that it comes
it'll be
out.
2 episodes.
But yeah, we watched some of the first episode and saw you breaking it down. Does your strategy change as you're instructing them or filling them in on the different things, or because it's such a unique experiment, or is it pretty much the same process, just like maybe like a compact version?
I'm always going to use my spicy fundamentals when like I'm coaching anyone, because those are the main ingredients you need for a healthy relationship. But as I'm coaching them, it's tailored to each person's experiences and what they need, right? It's an individualized process. Even though it's 3 friends together, each of them have experienced different past relationships that have created like wounds that need to be healed. And so as they're navigating, I'm giving them strategy and advice based on their personality and the relationship goal that they want to execute.
Wow. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love seeing you break it down, and this has been super helpful for me. How about you, Jai? You feel good?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start listening to your podcast
Yay,
because I just need more.
Yes.
I need more.
The spicy life. I love it. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for making the time today and for blessing us with all of your knowledge and expertise. It's been amazing catching up.
Me.
Yes, and so tell everybody where they can find you and on social media, but also the website and everything too.
For sure. You guys can always play with my Twitter, stroke my IG at SpicyMari. Go to thespicylife.com, click and subscribe to my podcast, share it with a friend always. And you can go to thespicylife.com also for my class that's coming up, Your Purpose Made Awaits. 6 weeks of learning the spicy fundamentals. It's an accelerated program, and you're in a cohort full of like women where we're creating a sisterhood, and I'm giving you relationship advice on how to manifest your purpose mate. And there you have it, Mark.
I love
You've
it.
been
Yeah.
spiced.
We'll be sending everybody your way. Thank you again. Thanks to AfterBuzz TV for introducing us.
Yeah. Shout
A
out to
decade ago.
AfterBuzz.
I will see y'all next time. Peace.